Yeah, what about sound? Yeah, what about that? What about that? How about the accent? Does that sound better too? All right. Here we go. Let's do it. All right. So thank you for joining in. I know we're still waiting for some people, but welcome. Thank you very much for joining. Today we have an awesome class coming, and it's all about self-awareness. It's all about taking care of yourself. It's all about just doing the best you can, and then all that starts here. Well, yes, a little bit. So it's going to be a very cool class. It's going to be 1 hour, but I want to get started because we only have 1 hour, and there's no much. There's a lot of things that I need to say today, and there's a lot of things that we need to learn. So it's important that we start going with that. So, just for all those that don't know me, so this is going to be recorded, and then it's going to be posted again. But right now, I want to, for those that don't know me, for those people that never heard about me, don't have any idea who I am. So my name is Lily Lomelli. I'm Mexican. I'm mother of two. I'm divorced. And I chose as career to be a life and health coach. I've been pretty much in sales my entire life. I've been doing this, when you go, I went to college, and then I did all this process of, okay, so what do I want to do with my life? You get to a point in your life when you wonder what exactly you want to do with your life. So I was there. So I did a lot of sales. A lot of people is joining. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining in. And I'm very excited today. I'm very excited because there's a lot of stuff, new stuff that I'm going to be talking about. Is for a lot of people is going to be new, and for all people, different people, is going to be like, oh, this is wow, like this is woo. That happened to me. I've been in a lot of conference. I've been in a lot of different spaces, and I always do my best to get something, one little thing out of it. So that's what I want you guys to go with tonight. So let me just get all my stuff figured out. All right. So like I said before, I'm a mother of two, and I decided to take it as a career, the life and health coach. And through my life, I've been always doing I'm being involved in some sort of sales. And through sales, I have discovered that I really enjoy talking to people. It's one of my biggest joy. Talking to people, it's not so much talking to people, but it's getting to listen to them and understanding their perspective, because that allows me to see life in a different way. Because you go places and you always base everything in your understanding, but I don't think we ever stop. Is like, wait a second, how does this person is seeing this situation? We don't do that often. So through sales, I got the opportunity to get that confidence and get to talk to a lot of people and to get a lot of perspective. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, with that in mind, let me just set things up in here. One day, I want to tell you how it started, and then we're going to jump into class. So in 2021, I remember praying for a chance. God, right now, I could be doing something better with my time. But then I said, but what is that, right? And then I asked myself that question. It's like, okay, so what is that better thing? So that question really paralyzed me, because I was lost. I realized in that moment that even though I was doing things that I like doing, like talking to people, I wasn't doing something fulfilling with my life. So in that moment, I remember telling, I prayed in my car, and I prayed to God to out loud to help me see what I cannot see. It was a moment where I was so into my emotions, because I didn't know what to do. I was so frustrated waiting for a client in my car, and I was crying, and it was so pathetic, because even though I had the job and all that stuff, I didn't know what to do. So I asked God to allow me to see what was in front of me. And it's funny because, well, anyway, after that, something that I've been doing for a long, long time is to I read a lot of books. I did a lot of personal development, and I read a lot of books. And through reading books, I came across one of the, I think I consider one of my mentors, long distance, Mel Robbins. She's, I think she's one of the most amazing writers, because she keeps it cool. Like, she just keeps it, she goes straight to the point, whether you like it or not. She will just tell you things the way they are. Hi everyone, everybody that is joining, thank you very much for joining in. So I'm just giving a little quick introduction of why I'm doing this class, but it's important that you guys see the whole perspective and what I'm doing. So I was telling you guys, one day I asked God, what's in there for me? And then I turned on the radio, and Mel Robbins came up, and she said, she was saying a bunch of different stuff. And in one of the sentence that she said, well, if you want to be a coach, just be a coach. And then she kept talking. And I remember thinking like, oh, okay. Oh, all right. Yes, I'm gonna be a coach. It's like, but it was just that I had a moment of revelation. You know, you look for something, and you do your due diligence and do research and all that stuff. And I know a lot of us are in the same situation. People that tells me, you know, Lily, I've been doing this work for so long, and I don't know what I really want for my life. Or, you know, Lily, I have a struggle for this X, Y, and Z, but I don't really know what the purpose of my life is. And it's really, really frustrating, so much that I remember I took the personality test many, many different times, because we change with time. I remember taking courses. I remember going to conference, doing all kind of stuff to find that person that I was looking for. But it was just not there. It was just so not clicking. So, and I remember taking one of these tests, and telling the test told me to be a coach, some sort of coach. And I was like, oh, this stuff is not right. This stuff doesn't know what it's talking about. These professionals don't know what they're talking about. So I kind of gave up. But then Mel Robbins, someone that I could listen, and this is the thing, sometimes people, or we hear the things in front of us, and we just swipe left or swipe right, whatever. Swipe, and we just swipe, because we are not listening with the heart, with open mind. We're expecting people to give us the answer. So guess what? Tonight we're gonna do a lot of work. I'm not gonna give you the answers, because it doesn't really work like that. So that's the way it is. And essentially, because I have done the work, um, I have done the work for so long, and I know how, when you do the work, you can collect the fruits. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So, for those that don't know me, I got here this country about 13, almost 14 years ago, and it was hell. Coming from a different culture, coming from a different country, coming from a different language, coming from a different everything, my life was totally changed. And I was by choice. I want to say I have free will, like all of us. And by choice, I made the decision, and I kept it to myself, but I was miserable. And it took me so long to get in track. It took me so long to just being honest. Like, oh, oh, so the kid's been telling the truth. Oh, okay. So, but it took me a long, long, long time. Now, my heart, through time, through all this process, and I know a lot of people is going to relate with this. My heart was broken many, many, many different pieces, so many, many different times. And like, something happened, and my heart got broken again, and then again and again, and multiple times, and it kept happening. And I got to one point where I was like, why these things keep happening to me? Why is this? Like, people was telling me, well, you have to trust God, and you have to trust the process. And I kept saying, well, I don't think God is on my side right now, and I don't think God is going to help me right now, because things kept happening to me. But then um it came to me one day. It came to me. It's like, oh, okay. So I had to learn to lower my expectations, so my heart didn't but wasn't broken again. So I have learned to manage and manage my expectations better. But all that came through understanding myself first. All that I'm saying is for you guys to understand that changes won't happen from one day to the other. I'm not planning on changing your life today. I'm planning for you to get one little thing, and whatever you're capable to get, whatever it is. Everywhere I went and everything I've been, my life has been, wherever I go, as long as I get one little thing, my time was not wasted. So I encourage you guys to pay attention and just get one little thing. Now, why am I saying things this way? If you don't do the work, don't expect results, period. And I'm gonna get this. I want to thank I don't know if she's in Diane Chi. I know that I send them the information for this group like 20,000 times and tags and then email and all that stuff, and I got it and I got it and I got it. Hi Monica. So, and then a lot of people's like, okay, I get it. Why are you texting me so many times? Because we need constant repetition. We forget stuff. We need to do constant work. My friend D, that's how she got me. And she was like, okay, so what are you going to do about it? And every single day she asked me the same question. So I'm going to put pressure on you guys because I do care. I know what it is to be lost. I know what it is to feel that you're alone and that nobody's going to ever understand you because for some reason you're just unique. And you are unique, but I'm going to explain it in better words. All right. So, expectations for this class. There's always rules. We have to have rules to keep a balance. Okay. Expectations. I know I'm talking very fast, but just keep up. I believe every answer that we're looking for is within us. I know, and I know you know that, but we just have to find it. We just have to dig deep and find it. Now, this is a free class. I encourage you to take advantage of it because I'm proud of this because I do a lot of work. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of information. So this is a lot of cool stuff that if you take advantage of it, you're going to get a lot of cool stuff and changes and all that nice stuff. All right. It's important to take notes. I have a notebook like this in which everything that has to do with me, it goes into the book. So if I can't have an idea, I write it down. I don't type it. I don't talk to anybody. I write it down because it's important to connect mind and body and all that nice stuff. And it will happen only when you write it down. So I encourage you guys to get a notebook just for you, like my diary. Like, growing up, kids used to do that. And a lot of people encourage their kids to do it because it's self-awareness. It's writing about yourself. So get a notebook and get a pen. You're going to need it for sure. It's only 1 hour. So I ask you for your unconditional focus. I don't want you to, I know there's life happening. I know that there's a lot of things going on. I know you have kids and dinner and all that stuff. I get it. But you are only doing this for 1 hour a week, and you're not doing it for me. You're not doing it for anybody else but for you. This is just about self-care. I mean, I understand there's a lot of things, but just give this to yourself. It's all about doing the work. If you don't do the work, don't expect results. It's very simple, plain, it's black and white. So right now we're going to be doing a lot of work. Take your notes, do the work, and you're going to have a lot of answers. There's no one that is going to tell you what's wrong with you. No one. You can go to any therapist or any psychologist, and no one is going to tell you what's wrong with you. You have to dig deep and be honest about it. And then the work is going to start happening. Also, please be open-minded, to have an open mind and an open heart to do the work and to listen. I don't expect a criticize little mind right now, criticizing mind. I want you to just go with it, go with the process and focus on it. Okay, what's in here for you? We will learn There's questions. It's so simple. The process is so simple, but we just need to learn to do it right. That's all. It's like everybody that I hear people like, oh, I know what to do, Lily. Oh, I know how to do that. Oh, I know how to do this. And yes, we all know, but essentially we need direction. Why basketball players have, or any player have a coach? Because or else they will be running everywhere by themselves. They need to have a direction. They need to work in team. They need community, essentially teamwork, and something to be directed by. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to learn how to self-discover yourself. Just applying simple questions, we're going to do a lot of cool work. Now, we are not negotiating with God. This is not, okay, Lily, okay, God, if I stay to this class for 1 hour, I want to see this XYZ result. No, we're not negotiating. This is not we don't have anybody hostage, and we don't need to negotiate. This is all about you doing the work, and you are not that special. It sounds rough, but what that means is you are not the only one that is struggling with these situations. You're not. You're not the only one with, oh, I don't know what my purpose, or I don't know if God really exists, or I don't know. All these questions, I had those questions. So that's how, there you go. Not negotiating with, with God. So, yes, we are here because we are looking for help. And we don't have all the answers, and we are going through the same process. So that's why we are not as special, and we are not a victim, because we're continue going and pushing through. But you are special in a way that you have a special gifts. So we're going to find them and put them in practice, because those are tools that are going to help you to get better. And I expect you guys, when things are free, we don't really care much about it. But when it's not free, it's like, yikes, I wish it was free. So it's free, take advantage of it, okay? And consistency. We're gonna do the work. I know I'm saying all this stuff because I want you guys to be prepared. If you're not consistent on the process, it's like working out. You don't work out 1 day of the week and then you wait 2 weeks and then you work out again. No, you have to do it with consistency for things to work, okay? And it's about to be being and staying focused. Focus on what we're talking about. We have to be strong and courageous. That's my maximum. You have to be strong and courageous. Stop complaining. Stop multitasking. For those that are there listening to me but doing something else, washing dishes or listening to the kid or whatever it is, I get it. Things need to be done, but just give yourself 1 hour. You don't have nothing to lose. You are not being challenged. Well, let me put it this way. If you're not being challenged with this class, I'm not doing my work right. And I will need to hear your feedback, because feedback helps me to grow. Always speaking with the heart. Okay. Now, let's start the topic for today. Who in God's name am I? This is profound to me. Why? Imagine, let's close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And while you guys are taking a deep breath, I want you guys to know that you guys are going to have some so there we're going to leave some homework assignment. So, but right now take a deep breath. I love paintings. Paintings, I think it's a great expression of someone's emotions and feelings, and that's why they look so different. That's why for someone, one painter looks so different to the other one. It's just a reflection of how they see life, right? So let's talk about paintings. We are all a painting. We are all a beautiful painting. But like all the paintings that are old, they're covered, some there are abandoned, they're covered on spider webs and dust, and then the rocks fall, and then they rust, and then there's like, if it's there's leakage or there's water damage. So the paintings, if they're abandoned, they get ruined, or not necessarily ruined, they get hurt in some way, and then they cover with all this unnecessary stuff. But then there's people that their job is to clean those paintings very, very detailed and very you know, with a lot of care, so those paintings don't get damaged. But this process takes a lot of time, little by little, uncovering all those colors, shapes, forms, all that stuff. So what we're doing with these classes, what we're going to be doing with these classes, and I'm so excited about it, is going through that process to uncover your beautiful fine art. So I'm saying, I'm thinking like that's just one of the most, because I'm excited because I went through it and I know how wonderful it is. So we're going to be doing that today. I said at the beginning, we all have gifts, but we don't really know who they are. And if you know who they are, you don't practice them. So that's because you don't practice them, you haven't got to the full purpose, your full fulfillment purpose of your life. If you do know what the purpose of your life is, why are you not practicing it? Why are you not going with that? So we have a lot of questions to answer. Yeah, I was in shock. Okay, so I'm acting the fool. So, as usual. So, when we learn who you are and why you make the decisions that you make and why you do the things you do and all that stuff, once you get to the root of it and you really understand why you do that, it's a process of self-discovery. And when you learn that who you are, you become authentic and honest and humble about who you are, because now you are capable to say, oh, this is Lily, this is who Lily is, this is who she likes, these are her values, and Lily went through all this process in her life. I understand why I do this, because this happened to me. That process becomes acceptance. When you learn to accept yourself, that's when you become authentic and honest and humble. The idea is just accept yourself, but it's really, really, really hard because we don't really like who we are. And that's the reality. So we will learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, asking those questions that we don't want to ask, because if I uncover it, I might cry, or it's gonna make me feel or whatever. But it's all part of the process of growth. So we're gonna have to do it. Now, doing all this process, going through all this process, is not just for you. Okay, going through a process of self-discovery, going through a process of accepting yourself will help you relate better with your kids, with your mom, with your father, with the people around you, friends. Have more authentic friends. Being able to have a conversation with other people without thinking, without elaborating. This is what happens. We're having a conversation and we are thinking on how we're going to respond based on how we want them to see us. That's what we do. We do that most of the time. It's a tiring process. So if you're authentic, you take a lot of that stuff out and you're just like, okay, well, this is who I am. There's no other Lily. So that's that. Accept it or leave it. So let's start. Let's go with that. Let's help out our community. Let's have an amazing meeting, and I pray that you guys get at least one thing to help you and to go with it and run your life with it. And the homework every day, no matter what, write it down. Drink water. When you wake up, first thing, for 30 seconds, have a grateful thought. Think about something that you're grateful about. I do it every morning. It works like a charm. Drink water. You have to drink water first thing in the morning. Make your bed, brush your teeth, Fourth task, it's like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but once you practice it every single day, you create consistency. And your brain is like, oh, I can do this every single day. Okay, so I can do things. So it's just drink water, have a grateful thought, make your bed, brush your teeth. I keep saying that. I will never say that enough. All right. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for the support. Thank you for being present. Let's do it. Let's take a moment. Let me calm down. Let's take a moment. Take a deep breath. Let's calm yourself down. I ask you to please leave on the side all the ideas and concepts that you have about anything. You know, we always have an idea about something. Just leave it on the door, close the door, lock it, leave it outside. Because when we have all these ideas, oh, I read in the book, oh, I heard in the radio, or my friend told me, when we have all these ideas and we don't even know what we believe on, it creates us and it makes us overthink about things. So instead of being present, I'm thinking like, oh, I heard, oh, I said, oh, and then I have all this noise in my head that won't allow us to focus, and we overthink everything. So we are in a constant state of confusion. So I ask you to leave all that on the side. We don't need that, because all that creates is anxiety, stress, annoyance, expectation, fear, awkwardness, anger, boredom, confusion. So to eliminate all that, focus, stay focused, and you'll see results. Now, all these emotions are just symptoms of protection mechanism. If I'm poking on a nerve, which I probably will, just say, I'm open-minded, I'm here to listen, I'm focused, I'm about to learn something new. Cool? Cool, we have a deal. Let's trust the process. All right. Through my life, I've been in so many AA meetings, sobriety houses meetings, family meetings, all kind of different things. So I know that the process can be exhausting and a lot of like emotion feel. So it's important that we connect our emotions, because they won't go away. We need to learn to transform them, be renewed, be transformed. See, be transformed by renewing your mind. We're going to be working on that. This is just to work on that. All right. Let's talk about our limitations. We all have limitations. We are all, and forgive me for saying this word, handicapped. And I'm going to say it in this way because, yes, when we know, because I know there's people like, oh, I know all this stuff. I know what Lily's asking about. I know what she's talking about. So when you're not open-minded, you're handicapping yourself. So because I know we struggle with betrayal, trauma, traumatic experiences, abandonment, being neglected. We in some sort of trauma. There's some sort of trauma that had happened to us, and those create walls. It's like walls in your head and all that stuff that creates like a box. Those walls puts us on a box, and when we are inside of that box with ourselves, and we have gone through a lot of dysfunction, in that box will be filled with dysfunction, with controlling issues, with obsessions, lying, with bunch of dysfunction. So what we need to do once we do the process of self-discovery is we're taking those walls out. It's like opening a box and it's like, oh, that you're being all there all this time. Like, what? So you're gonna go through that process, and it's a wonderful process. But like a butterfly, we're gonna get liquefied in order for that process to happen and to be clean and to be honest. Now, we're gonna work with something. Once we start doing the work, I encourage you guys to write it down. Once we start doing the work, we're gonna learn to create new habits. Our habits become part of our identity that forms our belief system. So the things that we do every single day, the repetition of things form a big part of our belief system. And that belief system forms a big part of our identity. So if growing up someone told me that I'm a liar, or your dad or someone told you, growing up I was bullied, so everybody told me that I was fat. So that like every single day people telling me the same thing, so I believed it. My belief system was that I was fat. So with time, it becomes part of my identity. So until probably a couple of years ago, even though I lost a lot of weight, I was still fat. My mind was that fat little 12-year-old girl. And that's who I was. And it's just traumatized. It's just hard to live like that, with that stigma, with that wall in front of my face that says, yes, you're fat. And that's how I lived my life. All the decisions that I made was with that mentality. But once I understood that, okay, so this is the things that they were telling me when I was 12. This is not who I am. And I'm no longer that person. And I did the work and I feel better and I look good. I'm not that person. I need to cut that out. So I learned to cut that out. But those are the lies that we tell ourselves that really influence our identity, because the repetition, those habits, those toxic habits, things that we tell ourselves every single day, influence greatly the belief system that we have. And for instance, our identity. So we gotta cut it out, cut it out, cut it out, cut it. Like, Saya, we gotta cut it out. All right. Question number 1. If you have water, drink some water. So we're gonna be doing some work. So question, let me drink some water first. All right, do it. You do it. You do it now. Stop now. Stop what you're doing and take some water. Drink some water. Water oxygenates you. Now, question number 1. What is your worst fear? Write it down. We're gonna be working on that. Oh, good, Ashley. I'm glad you're drinking your water. Yes, let's do that. Because, and this is very important to say. When you drink water, you teach it, basically you oxygenate yourself. You send some oxygen to your bloodstream to get to your brain. Sometimes when we make the worst decisions is because oxygen is not getting up there. It's like nothing is getting there, so let's push it with water. So help yourself with that. So what is your worst fear? I want you to write that question down. We're going to work through that, because that's one of the main questions that will uncover what is stopping us, slowing us down, affecting us, and making our life dysfunctional. So if you have an answer now, go and write it down, but we're going to continue doing the work. All right. Understanding that things, I'm gonna explain a little bit of my fear. I understand that things won't ever go my way or the way I want them to be. And so I understand all that, and I'm clear on that. But I'm so afraid to face the future difficulties with no support system. When I was here and I was isolated from my family because they went back in Mexico, and I was struggling with divorce and living on the street and all that stuff, all that fun stuff, I did not have a support system. So that traumatizes me. That created like a little bruise in my brain. And now moving forward, I have the fear to later on face some difficulties in my life and not to have a support system, not to have someone around me when I'm low. So that's one of my biggest fears. I'm afraid of abandonment, and rejection. Because when I was bullied and I had to I joined all clubs. When I was in school, I think I joined every club. Everything. I even sewing and public speaking. I did science. I did everything because I wanted to belong. I wanted to be a part of a team. I wanted to be part of something. And all that started because of the bullying situation. And I become an overachiever. And I was an overachiever and a codependent. We're going to have a class on codependency. Intense too. So, so all that comes from traumatic experiences, and anger was my weapon of choice. So I became an overachiever, codependent that was suppressing all that anger, and I was like a bomb. I was explode out of nowhere. That's real. All right. So, who in God's name am I? When you find your real values and needs and purpose, you have a sense of freedom, because you get the opportunity to realize that you can do whatever you want. Free will. You can do or redo or experience whatever you want. This is a very hard idea to grasp. It took me quite a while, like literally, like, oh, I can do whatever I want. Wait, I can do whatever I want. Oh, I can do whatever I want. Like, it took me a long time, because it's like, yeah, as long as you're doing the things the way, with the values and the system and everything, do it with a positive mindset and all that stuff, you can do whatever you want, because you're not stepping on nobody's boundaries, you know? So, because now you are in control, this means based on your better transformed mind, your belief system and your values, and practicing the right belief system and the right values, and really thinking that you will do the best you can your way. So it gives you freedom. It's like, I'm doing what I want to do. I can do whatever I want, because I have the right values, the right set of mind. I have my goals. I know where I'm going. I know I'm using all my I know I have the right gifts, and I'm using it to the right purpose, because you know is the best you can. It gives you a sense of freedom of saying, wow, I can do whatever I want. So it took me a long time to grasp it, but it's super, super freeing. Not worry about what others will say or think, because you know you're doing your best. You become deaf to angry, critical, judgmental tongues. This is one of the best parts. For me, that freedom, knowing myself, accepting myself, loving myself, validating myself, told me, oh, I don't have to listen to anybody. I mean, I can, only if what they're giving me or whatever they are adding value to my life. If not, bye, Felicia. That's just how it is. So let's stretch. Why do we have to stretch? Because we've been sitting for more than half an hour, and it's important. Let's talk about that. We have to get oxygen in the brain. So let's listen to that inner voice. Bye, Felicia. So I'm glad everybody's on point. So let's stretch, because stretching also brings oxygen to the brain, and that's what we need to be open. All right, to be on point. Next time I have some music and stuff, dancing and thing. No. All right. Self-awareness. If you are confused, if you blame others, if you experience some sort of conflict at home with your loved ones, at work, at church, anywhere you go, if you found a way to feel misunderstood, if you constantly feel misunderstood or alone, or you make a series of very poor decisions, or if you know something is wrong but you don't really care to look more into it, like I don't want to go to the doctor because I don't want to find out what's wrong, or if you put a big expectation on yourself or on others, that means that you have a lack of self-awareness, a lack of emotional intelligence. All those little things, those are red lights going off, saying something is wrong. If you feel fear, it's because something is there, and we gotta pay attention to it. But sometimes we just turn around, it's like, I don't want to know anything about it. It's like, and I did an analogy the other day. Sometimes we are like cows. So I have learned that in life there's some parts where cows, instead of running, cows, what they do is, like, if there's a storm coming, so there's the cow right here, the storm is coming, so the cow runs opposite way. So eventually the storm catch up, and the cows keep running. So, and the cows are not that fast, so the cows are running, and the storm catch up, and they're always at the same. So the cows stays in a constant state of storm, because I mean, they don't recognize it, just keep running. They keep running away from their problems, but they don't face them. So, a way to face them is doing the work, really looking into yourself and really doing that work that needs to be done. Asking yourself hard questions and answering them honestly with the truth. The truth will set you free. So, here we go. There's 5 important questions. Number 1, I already asked. What is one of your worst fears? So there's many different fears, ton of them, phobias and all kind of stuff. But there's 5 main groups of fears. Which fear number 1, the fear of extinction, or fear of death, or sickness, or something that will hurt you. The fear of mutilation or loss of meaning. What am I here for? The fear of loss of autonomy, the fear to commit, or if you feel entrapped or you feel overwhelmed, that's the fear of loss of autonomy or loss of identity. Then there's the fear of separation, abandonment, or rejection. That's moi. And I have struggling with that, and I know that you might relate to this. So write them down. Extinction or fear of death, mutilation or loss of meaning, loss of autonomy or loss of identity, abandonment, and loss of purpose, which goes together with humiliation, shame, or worthlessness, that need to feel love. So because you don't know, when you find your purpose, you can love yourself by doing the things that encourage you and move you, because you feel that love and you just go with it. But you don't feel love, you look for it, and we make a series of very messed up decisions searching for love. I know, I've been there in weird situations. So think about it. You don't have to tell me, but keeping it real, we make very poor decisions most of the time. So take a moment and continue dissecting that fear. What is your worst fear? If you say, I'm afraid to speak in public, all right. So where do you think that come from? When was that time when you feel that way for first time? That you said, okay, when just go back to that moment when the last time you felt that fear. So think about, where do you think that comes from? When do you think that started? When, like, going back in time, I remember it was a conference and I was gonna speak and I froze and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. So I remember feeling like panicky. So think, when did that start? When you were 12, 13, 15, 25? What triggers that fear? Ask yourself that question. What triggers that fear? And so just keep it real. How are your fears triggered? When do they come up? And how exactly do you feel? When I have that fear, I just fly away. I ghost. So there's people that said, this ghosting concept is like, well, she ghosts me or he ghosts me. And I didn't really understand it. So basically what it is that fight, flight, freeze response is like, okay, bye, Felicia. I feel very uncomfortable with this topic and I'm out. There's like, and a lot of that happens in the fear of commitment, when it's like you tell your boyfriend. It's a lot of women in this class, but when you feel that fear of like your boyfriend or the person that you're dating, and then it's like, oh, what if you come to the house and the next thing he ghosts you? I mean, I know it's messed up, but that's just real, and it's just come up from a fear. So if you ever have done that, ask yourself, why did you do it? Why did you feel that fear? Where does that come from, and when did that start? He said, I hear fear of being rejected, fearing disappointed. Yeah, this is just ghosting. Yeah, the ghosting is a the ghosting is real. So ask yourself that question. All right, we got to question number 2. What are my most important values? What are the things that you treasure the most with you? Do your research. There's ton of values. So there's loyalty, spirituality, humility, compassion, honesty, kindness. I think I am a great listener. I believe, and I know for sure that I listen. um I like to listen to people because I want to listen to a different perspective. And I know it's not because I say so, but because I got reviews. People tells me that. So what is that thing that people has told you in the past that you are good at? Or you're patient. I know people very close to me that are very patient, and I was like, whoa, where did you get that from? And I recognize that. So what is that gift that you have that you know that you have because people has told you that you have it? Which one is it? What are your values? Like, for example, like I said, I'm a good listener. I'm this is something that everybody, if you know me, you will know well. People has told me many times that I just don't give up. I was in sales, so it's like, you just don't give up, right? It's like, oh my god, like, why do you keep calling me? Like, when I was sending all that's like, I won't ever give up. I know this is good for you, and I won't give up on you because God didn't give up on us, and I'm not giving up because I know there's a lot of potential in us. And we are creating so much drama out there because we just do your work, but we don't know where to start. We're so lost and confused. So find yourself. What are your values? What are those things that you have in you and you respect and you want to? Rose, thank you. Patient. I mean, I think when it's a value, it's always a good thing. It's always a good thing. The problem is you cannot practice all this. Not every space is a safe space. Let's just put it that way. So we have to learn discernment, and that comes a lot with the work. So we're gonna get there with discernment, but we're not there yet. First, before you start with all anything else, start with yourself. So what are those? Resiliency and perseverance, whatever you say that, however you say. You know what I'm talking about. So whatever you say that's what I'm struggling with. That's what I'm those are my gifts. All right. So also, this is a thing that you have to practice every single day. Someone once told me, I'm sorry, this is my chair is all right. Someone once told me there are no stupid questions. I learned this in middle school. I remember I was afraid to ask a question because I was like, oh, this is stupid. So that teacher told me there are no stupid questions, because if you ask and you have the answer, now you are less stupid. So that's a win-win situation. So if you ask a question and you think it's stupid, but you have a question and you don't have clarity on it, ask. Always ask, because when you ask, then you're going to have the answer that you're looking for. So you no longer have that question. So I think that's a win-win situation. All right. Now that we learn our fears, and now, well, that we're working on our fears and that we are working in our values, we are also going to wonder and work on our weaknesses. How do I react when things don't go, excuse me, my way? How do I react when things don't go my way? Um, we're going to ask these questions. Think of the last time you went through something frustrating or annoying, just the last time that you went through a hard situation. Not all the times, because we have only 10 more minutes. So think about that time when you felt frustrated and annoying. What happened? What happened in that moment? What made you feel that things were not going your way? And then, so what happened? And then how did you react? What did you do about it? And then what was the final result? What happened? What did you do? And what was the final result? And then how do you feel about it now? The idea of asking questions and about emotions and feeling, how does that make you feel, and all that stuff. In every question that you ask yourself, how does that make me feel? Because we need to start associating actions and beliefs and thoughts with emotions. Once we do that, once we close that gap, because there's a gap. Like when you said, okay, so how do you feel? And you're like, I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I felt in that moment. Okay, so this is the work. This is the time when you do that work and you bridge that gap. What happened? How did I feel about it? Once you make that connection, later on in time, you're going to make those connections more often. And then you're going to say, oh, when that happens, I'm going to feel X, Y, and Z. So you're going to be able to see before things that happen and make better decisions. So it says, someone says, I have bad anxiety. So when something goes wrong, I have anxiety issues and go crazy, and I don't really solve the problem, but I do feel bad for blowing up. So what happens in that? And we're gonna go to the responses that we have: fight, flight, freeze response. Those are just protection mechanisms that we go through. They're very, very powerful. So when we are having anxiety, what happens is our brain is like, wee wee wee. Our brain is like, something is not right, something is not okay. So let's create chaos, and then let's start just jumping and doing and stuff. So that's what your brain is doing in that moment when things are happening like that. Your brain is going crazy and hormones are going like crazy, and there's a lot of stuff. So anxiety comes from a hormone that your brain is creating. So it's like a little juice that your brain is creating because it feels uncomfortable. It's simple like that. So when you're going through this process of, oh my God, this happens often. Sometimes we have a ton of things to do and we don't know where to start. So this creates anxiety. It's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. Or you have a problem and you create anxiety. The anxiety starts when you stop thinking. When you start processing your thoughts and you stop breathing, that's when anxiety occurs. That's when stress happens. So my best suggestion, when you start going through anxiety, take a step back, go drink some water, go for a walk, just breathe, calm yourself, and ask yourself the question: what is happening right now that is making me feel this way? So how I feel anxiety, I feel depressed, I feel upset, I feel angry, and I'm feeling. So before we respond to anybody, before we talk to anybody when we're feeling this way, okay, this is, if you want to take something from this class, take this. Before you open your mouth, when you're going through a struggle moment, don't say anything. Before you say anything, when you're about to say something, don't say it. That's the best suggestion and tip that you can take from today. Why? Because we make very poor decisions when the brain is going, wee wee wee. The brain is not reasoning right now. And there's not enough oxygen getting up there. So the best scenario is separate yourself and ask the other person, I'm going to take a break right now. I'm just going to go for a walk. We can continue this conversation later. Excuse yourself, because just talking won't solve a problem. We have to learn to communicate, but that's a different class. So separate yourself, go for a walk, oxygenate yourself, and then you're going to be able to make better decisions. So that's how to do it. We were talking about, so when things are not going wrong, Analyze what is happening, why it's happening, how that makes me feel, and if I had it my way, what would I change about that situation? Okay, so this is happening right now. If I had it my way, I can change this, or I would talk this way, or I would do this change so I can get this outcome. Ask yourself that question. What would you change to make it better before you start talking and before you start making any decision? Okay. So, and then we have question number 5. The truly best moments of my life. No, that was question number 4. The truly 3 best moments of my life. Write them down. What are the 3 times in your, only 3? I don't want you to go through a lot of I'm sorry. I don't want you to go through a lot of trouble. Just 3 times in your life that were amazing for you. When you had your kids, when you've graduated, when you got married. Explain why. The key to life-changing habits is understanding that what will help us to keep those habits, and making the connection with the emotions is the best thing that you can do. So what was the best moment in your life, and how did that make you feel? Because then we are associating emotions. So moving forward, how can we recreate this emotion in a daily basis? So that's part of it too. Understanding will help you practice it more consistently. And last but not least, what is that thing that I want the most for myself? The big question. What is that thing? So, whatever it is, whatever you think your answer it is, you can write it down. And I know that's gonna change several times. Whatever you decide, and whatever you answer, however you answer the question, ask yourself, am I willing to do, what am I willing to do to get that thing that you most desire in your heart? So what is the thing that you want the most? Now you ask your question, what am I willing to do to get it? And then also the following question, am I willing to go my entire life pursuing this? Question mark. Once you answer that question, we want to get to the truth. So I want to buy a house and have the house of my dreams. What am I willing to do to get it? And if I don't get it next year, or in 5 years, or in 20 years, am I willing to go my entire life until I get it? And if that's not there, if it's no, that's not my answer, that doesn't sound right. Okay, then let's go back and say, okay, what is that real thing that is going to keep my life afloat and is going to keep me optimistic and making better decisions? Those are the things those are 5 questions: your fears, your weaknesses, your values, the most 3 best moments of your life, and what is the thing that you want the most for yourself? Now that you have those questions, it's on you to answer them. It's on you to do the work. Next week, we're going to have another session number 2 with those answers. Now that we have the answers to your questions, so you have a full week. Well, no, actually, no, never mind. Next week, we have a life, Ripple Effect Meets Life. And we're going to be talking about, I believe it's persistence. The title just escaped my mind. But in 2 weeks from now, not March 6th, is our next session for this online, and it's going to be the follow-up to these questions. We're going to evaluate the answers, and then now we're going to go to plan and how to stop overthinking and self-sabotaging. That's self-sabotage is a heavy-duty thing. So I encourage you guys to do the work, to drink water, cut the sodas. Sodas don't help with anxiety. The energy drinks don't help with anxiety. That makes it worse. That's just the worst thing. That sugar doesn't go with anxiety. Sugar just is going to make it worse. Coffee doesn't go with anxiety. So if you're struggling with anxiety or depression, go with water. That's the best thing that you can do. You need oxygen. That's one of the bases. You need some water. You need some God. You need to make your bed in the morning. Brush your teeth. I shouldn't say this, but you have to brush your teeth every morning. Make it a habit. And first, it's the most important one. Take 30 seconds to be grateful. To be grateful every single day. That's the only thing that I can say that will help you to have a better face to the day. Yeah, and it does work. So let's do the work. You guys have the assignment, 5 questions. Let's answer it. Let's do the work. And it's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about taking care of yourself. There's nothing better than self-care. We are starting a process to turn from a caterpillar to a butterfly. That process is getting into a cocoon, basically observing yourself, looking at yourself in the inside, and then get liquefied and say, all this doesn't work. Let's change it. So you get liquefied and then you get transformed into a beautiful butterfly. So let's do it. Pick your colors, pick your how you want to look like. This is on you. This is all about you. Become a beautiful butterfly, and I'm here to support you with the process. All right? Let's do it. Yeah, thank you for joining, and I'll see you guys soon.